In Surrey, detached homes with backyards are becoming a thing of the past as the city plans for a population of over 1 million people. So if you're a first-time buyer trying to choose between Surrey and Langley, this is the video that could save you from making a costly mistake. I've been selling homes out here for over 23 years, and today I'm going to compare these two suburbs so you can figure out which one is the best fit for you. Let's dive in. To people who don't live here, Surrey can be a very surprising city. People come out here expecting quiet streets and cul-de-sacs, but depending on where they go in Surrey, they can find themselves looking at a skyline of high-rises. This isn't your typical suburb anymore. The city has a real plan in place to become Metro Vancouver's second downtown, and they're building up to make it happen. Surrey's population already passed 700,000, and the city's long-term plan has that number reaching 1 million over the next couple of decades. If that happens, Surrey would actually surpass Vancouver, becoming the biggest city in BC. Now, when you drive into Surrey city center around the King George area, it doesn't really feel suburban anymore. It feels like a bustling city. You've got glass towers everywhere, SFU bringing in new students, a new city hall, and festivals all summer over at Holland Park. It's busy, it's vertical, and there's always something going on. Coffee shops, restaurants, all that kind of stuff built right into these condo towers that are 30 and 40 stories high. And the numbers back this up. Last time I checked, Surrey had around 23 high-rise towers already built and another 20 or so under construction and dozens more that have already been approved. One project that was recently approved includes 7 towers by itself. And the city's putting serious money into becoming a major urban center, including a nearly $3 billion hospital and cancer center, which I've mentioned a few times in my other videos. So if you're hoping to find an affordable, newer, detached home with a big backyard in North Surrey, I've got some bad news. That's not really what developers are building anymore. They're buying up land and putting up condos. The detached home with a white picket fence is slowly disappearing around the city center in North Surrey, and I don't really see that changing anytime soon. People who bought detached homes in this area back in the early 2000s are now surrounded by cranes and new towers. They'll tell you there are far fewer detached homes being built today than there was 20 years ago. The condo is really the product that defines Surrey city center now. And that market has had its ups and downs. Pre-sales in the early 2020s were hot tickets, but late last year, some of the larger Surrey projects were only pre-selling about 60% of their units before construction started. And there are now thousands of new condos sitting unsold. But the cranes keep building, and the long-term plan, the density, the transit, it all points in the same direction. Let me explain this in a more simple way. You can find just about every price point in Surrey. What you're not going to find much of anymore is acreage, big lots, mature trees, and that quiet country feel. If that's what you're after, you're probably going to want to look closer at Langley. And even there, parts of Langley are starting to build up too, especially around areas like Willoughby. So overall, the feel of these two cities is definitely very different. Okay, quick pause here. If you're a first-time buyer or a young family trying to decide on a Surrey condo or a Langley townhome, this is the kind of conversation we have with people every week. Reach out and we can sit down and go through the numbers and figure out which area makes the most sense for your family and your budget. You'll find our contact info in the description below. All right, now let's get to know more about Langley, because this is where things start to change. If Surrey is growing up, Langley is growing out. And the engine behind a lot of that growth is a neighborhood called Willoughby. You have to check it out if you want to see what's happening in Langley nowadays. Drive through the area and you'll see brand new townhome communities going up on land that was farmland and acreage not all that long ago. You've got walking paths, newer schools, community parks, and updated playgrounds. There are strollers everywhere, dog walkers, young families. It's a neighborhood being planned and built from the ground up, and it's got that family feel that's getting harder to find nowadays. Now, Langley has approached growth a little differently than Surrey. Instead of building 30-story towers, Langley has focused more on townhome communities and larger master plan developments. Now, there are a few high-rises starting to show up, like I mentioned earlier, but it's nowhere near what you're going to see around the Surrey city center area. The townhome is really the bread and butter out here. End units, tandem or side-by-side garages, Some have nice rooftop patios, modern kitchens. It's the kind of home many families buy when a detached house isn't quite within reach. And the township is planning for that growth. They recently updated their community plan, and Willoughby is growing so fast they're already looking at new school sites because enrollment keeps climbing. Yorkson Community Park also got a major upgrade, a new pump track, hundreds of new trees, more parking, new washrooms, and a great space for families. And nearby, you've got the Langley Events Center, an arena that brings people together for sports, concerts, and community events. The infrastructure is already going in. So Willoughby is only one part of the story. Once you head south of Highway 10, which pretty much cuts east-west through the middle of Langley, it feels like a different side of Langley altogether. Down in South Langley, you've got the Brookswood and Campbell Valley areas where you'll find larger lots, mature trees, wider streets, and a quieter pace of life. You know, it's that kind of place where Saturday morning still feels pretty relaxed. Now, the schools are a little bit older, but it's a beautifully maintained area. In most spots, the trees are taller than the homes. And there's something important to understand about Langley. More than 3/4 of the township sits within the agricultural land reserve. So in plain English, a huge amount of land can't just be redeveloped into towers and high density projects. That's one of the reasons Langley grows by adding neighborhoods instead of adding floors. And it's also why areas in South Langley can still offer acreage properties, larger lots, and mature landscaping that are getting harder to find elsewhere. Same municipality, two very different lifestyles. Okay, so there's one thing that's changing both Surrey and Langley, and it plays a big role in where prices go from here. The transit factor and price trajectories. You can already see it happening along Fraser Highway. The Surrey-Langley SkyTrain extension is transforming the way people look at both of these cities, and it's probably the biggest factor shaping this market right now. It's a 16-kilometer extension of the Expo line that will run from King George Station all the way out to Langley City Centre, with 8 new stations along the route. As of this spring, all 8 stations are under construction. Crews are out there every day driving piles, building tracks. The current target for completion is late 2029. When it's finished, you'll be able to get from Langley City to King George in about 22 minutes. And if you're heading all the way downtown, you're looking at just over an hour. For people who've been dealing with Highway 1 traffic for years, that is a pretty big deal. So what does a train that's still a few years away do to home prices today? Well, quite a bit. Historically, homes within walking distance of a SkyTrain station have appreciated much faster than the surrounding market. And you can already see buyers positioning themselves. Fleetwood, which is getting its own station, has become one of the most popular family areas in Surrey because people want to get in before the line opens. You're seeing the same thing in Clayton. Properties near future stations are definitely getting more attention. And with 2 new stations in Langley, one at Willowbrook Mall and one in downtown Langley, which will reduce one of the biggest drawbacks of Langley, the commute, inquiries about properties near those stations have definitely picked up. Now, one thing to understand about transit-driven growth is that the market looks ahead. By the time the trains are running in 2029, much of that value increase will already be reflected in the prices. So buyers getting into the market in 2025 and 2026 are the ones trying to capture that upside. If you wait until opening day, you're paying higher prices after the move has already happened. So which one is right for you? Well, it really comes down to one honest question. All right, here's the test I promised you. The truth is, both of these cities can work for most buyers. There really isn't a wrong answer here. It's about figuring out which one fits the way you want to live. So ask yourself one question. What do you want your Tuesday and your Saturday to feel like? If you want energy and walkability, a SkyTrain station you can use today, restaurants and coffee shops right outside your front door, and you're happy with a condo instead of a home, then Surrey City Centre is probably your spot. You're buying into a transit hub that's only going to get denser over time, and historically those areas have done pretty well over the long run. If you're looking for something in the middle, places like Fleetwood, Cloverdale, and Clayton give you a little bit more space, some yard, some room to breathe and spread out, and the benefit of the SkyTrain lane coming in nearby in the future. For a lot of families, that's the kind of balance they're looking for. You get the Surrey lifestyle without being surrounded by towers. But if real space or that newer community feel is the priority, then Langley is where most people end up. Willoughby gives you the modern family suburb, newer homes and townhomes, newer schools, parks, and before long you'll have a SkyTrain station close by as well. It's easy to see why so many young families are choosing that area. And if you want to take it a step further, if you're looking for a bigger lot or acreage, mature trees, a quieter pace of life while still being reasonably close to amenities, then South Langley is where you've got to look. It's one of the few places this close to Metro Vancouver where that lifestyle is still attainable. The two cities that used to be pretty interchangeable are now at a real fork in the road, and the lifestyle that comes with each is only getting more different over time. Pick the city that fits the way you want to live, and the rest tends to work itself out. If you want to know what your budget buys in each of these areas before all the SkyTrain impact gets priced into the market, email me at info@moteam.ca today, and we'll map it out together. And if you've settled on Surrey, but you're not sure which neighborhood, the video I've linked here walks through where I'd personally move in 2026 and why the areas everyone's rushing into might be the weakest long-term bets. Hey, thanks for watching. Appreciate you being here, and we'll see you again in the next one.